Welcome back to Engines and Unfinished Business. Today I'm going to be sorting out Misty's front brake caliper. If you're new to the channel, Misty is our Toyota MR2, which we bought for an amazingly cheap price a few years back. She did have a few issues, including some crash damage. We worked through most of those and got her ready to be our wedding car, and then spent the rest of the summer driving and enjoying her. There were still a few issues remaining, the main one being the gearbox. Fifth gear was completely ruined. So we took her off the road, dropped the engine, did some maintenance on the engine while it was out, did the timing belt, sourced a new gearbox, put the new gearbox with the engine back into the car, got that all buttoned up, and then wanted to get her back on the road. In the UK we have what's called the MOT, which is an annual safety and emissions test. She failed that, unfortunately, mostly on brakes. There was also a wheel bearing, so that's the current goal, is to fix all those issues. The cheapest and easiest way to sort out a rusty stuck caliper like that is just to buy a new one. So that's what I did. Thing is, I've tried rebuilding brake calipers. I hate it. I would rather spend £160 on a new caliper than £30 and hours of my life on a rebuild kit. The problem is, the new caliper is literally just the caliper. It doesn't include this bracket. And last time I discovered, this bracket is no good. These pins, this one's not too bad, it's a little bit grimy, but this one is completely rusted, and as is in there. So when I looked at this last time, I said that I wasn't sure how I'd even clean that up. And so I just ordered a replacement one that was also used and hopefully in better condition. And then the very evening I uploaded that video, I was watching some Garbage Time, and old mate James pulled out these little, almost like small bottle brushes that go on a drill for cleaning out some bores. And never seen them before, seemed like it'd be a perfect thing, so I cancelled my order for the caliper bracket and instead ordered some of those brushes. Let's see how they go. Kind of hard to tell in this light, but you have to trust me, that's done a good job. The rust from the bore is pretty much gone. At the very end there's still a little bit of rust because the brush doesn't touch that, but I may have a small brush that can get in there, otherwise I'm just going to have to throw some rust treat down there and hope for the best. Now I'm just going to try and clean up the rest of this. So I got all the flaky rust off. This, I think it's cast steel, I'm not 100% sure. It doesn't really seem to de-rust very well with a wire wheel, so I will hit it with some rust converter and then some specific brake paint. One thing I want to make sure first though is that these pins, which have cleaned up pretty well, make sure they haven't swollen too much to actually fit. So I'm just going to put some brake grease on them and just see how they slide in and out, and assuming they're fine, keep them. Otherwise I think I can just buy replacements of these, which should be brand new, so probably a smart thing to do, but let's see how it goes. Either way, it's not swollen. Well, that's a horrible noise. I don't know if that's too much play. Let's try this one, which was the really rusty one that's cleaned up pretty well, actually. Bigger the gob, the better the job. That one feels much nicer. Maybe they're the wrong way around. Because that one, even though that was the really rusty one, it's got barely any play at all and just slides in and out really nicely. There's this one, not so much. Let's try swapping them around. See if there's any difference. It feels pretty good. And that one, oh yeah, that's got to be the way around they were, because that's a much nicer. I also cleaned up these anti-rattle brackety things best I could. And they've come up pretty well. There's a few places where I just couldn't get the brush to them, but for the most part they look a hell of a lot better than they did, so I'm happy with them. Time to paint a caliper. Well, that's looking pretty good, I think. Time to put it all back together. Here's my nicely repainted carrier with the new caliper, and unfortunately, slightly different silver, but still looks better than it would have. So let's start putting it all back together. Pretty sure that's how they all went. So now, got these new seals that I need to hammer in. And that O-ring is for later. Supposedly, I should be able to use a 19mm socket, which is the right size there. So I just need to get this rubber doodle inside, which is close enough. So I don't really want to be hammering on the rubber as that might split it. Okay, one down, one to go. So that's both of those doodles hammered in. Now I've got these pins that were lubed up from before. This pin has to have this little O-ring type thing on it. Or not. Let's try it again. There we go. Okay, yeah, that's moving all right. I'm happy with that. Yeah. There we go. Getting there. So I'll be kind of loosely bolting this together here, and then I'll torque it all up on the car. So I have a question for any proper engineers out there watching. Why is it the bolts that hold the carrier to the hub are big, chunky mother hubbards, and yet the bolts that hold this together can be so much smaller? Go and take this over to the car and try and get it installed with obviously some brake pads. So it turns out getting these brake pads in is basically impossible once you've put the caliper in its carrier, so now I've just had to take it all apart and pads go in kind of somewhat from behind. Sit in that little holder there. Pretty sure these do this. Whoops. And now I'll get the carrier in the car and then bolt this into the carrier. Hopefully it'll all go together. So this bad boy goes on there. And these big ass bolts will get torqued up to 88. Was it 88 Newton meters I said? I'm pretty sure it was. I remember thinking, just like on Back to the Future. Oh, I didn't wind it down when I was finished. That was silly of me. Not supposed to do that, Matt, you dick. Thank you. Thank you. Now, finally time to get my shiny new caliper on. Onto the pump. Let's push these onto the disc like that. And let's see if this will go on. Yeah, perfect. That was way too easy. I'm suspicious, but I'm not going to fight it. Oh, but look how shiny. In this light, the silvers almost look the same. Nice. Just had a really good stupid moment that I thought I'd share with everyone. I wanted to set the torque on this. I put it into torque mode. I was like, oh, what's OHE? Is that some kind of error? No, it's just 34. And then the final thing I'm going to do today is just get the hose plugged in. I'm not going to bleed yet because I need to bleed all the brakes and I haven't got the rear cylinder on yet. So banjo bolt, fresh crush washer, through there, another crush washer, screw it in. There we go. Right, so why do I have another banjo bolt here? Where the fuck did that come from? Ah, that one's probably from the rear brake. I really hope they're the same part. I'm sure they are. I will double check part numbers when I get home and swap them over with some new washers if I need to, but I'm sure they're the same part. Anyway, that one is now ready for bleeding. No, it's not. I lied. This hose is a bit loosey-goosey. Just need to put this clip back in. I don't remember how this clip goes. I'm going to go and look at the other side. Underneath from the back. There's a joke in there somewhere, but that is why you only ever do one side at a time. Situations like this. I think. Yeah, that's nicely in place. That ain't going anywhere. I think that looks freaking awesome. Makes me wish I'd bothered to do the rear one now. Oh wait, I did do the rear one, but that's next video. Well, there it is. Front right brake just needs bleeding, but other than that, that's another MOT failure sorted out. If you enjoyed this video, please click the old thumbs up down below. It really helps to alert the almighty algorithm of your approval. Thank you as always to our Patreons, and welcome to our newest Patreon, Nikodash. I hope I pronounced your name right. Next video will hopefully be getting Misty MOT'd and road legal again, so once that's ready, you'll be able to watch it here. Until then, here's one the algorithm thinks you'll like. No, not that one. Try again. Yeah, that one. Go with that one. Thanks for watching. See you next time.